Today, we'll be doing Java user input. And for that, we'll use scanner class to get user input. And we'll ask the users following questions. And based on their input, we will have to execute this following paragraph. It says, my name is James Bond. I'm 40 years old, male. I'm originally from England. I currently live in New York. I work at IBM as an automation engineer. I make $100,000 and I will get $50,000 as annual raise. So my total salary would be $150,000 next year. Keep in mind we have to add these two values, 100,000 and 50,000 here. And we'll also have to make sure, despite the difference in user input, the pattern should be the same. So we're not trying to predefine any value. For example, James Bond, if somebody says Tony Stark, it will be Tony Stark. And we'll be asking the users this question: what is your name? How old are you? What is your gender? Where are you from? Where do you live now? Where do you work? What is your job role? What is your salary? How much raise are you getting next year? Now let's do this. So for this, I have already created a Java package, Java user input, where we followed naming convention. So we named it by starting with lowercase. Same time, we created a public class scanner function where we followed the naming convention. It starts with uppercase. And we also use camel case method to name the package names and scanner and the class name. Now in this, I have tried to use as many comments as I can so that I can use it for future reference. I have created multiple scanner objects for 3 different data types. For string, I have created the scanner called user input string. For integer, I have created user input integer. And for double, I have created user input double. And while using multiple gate or scanner, I only had to import java.util, that scanner only once. I have used single line comment and multi-line comment. Now, based on our given questions, we'll be asking our users these following questions. And for that, I have used the system.out.println method to satisfy the required question that are necessary. For example, what is your name? How old are you? What is your gender? Where are you from? Where do you live now? And as follows. Now, for each system.out.println statement, I have declared a string variable or integer variable or double variable so that we can read user input. I used the scanner name dot next line method or next int method or next double method and set it as a value for the variable. As you can see, this is user input string next line. It's for integer value like age. I use user int dot next int, and for double like salary or raise, I have used next double method. And at the end, I have used the system.out.println method statement in order to get the required paragraph that we have to come up with. So like my name is space in between double quotation plus name or variable name and the strings and as follows. So that based on our user input, we can get the output that we want. But since this line 51 ended with a string and we know if we add multiple integers after string, it will not give us a total value. Instead, it will add 2 values next to the string separately. So I had to use system.out.print method and put user salary and user raise before the string, since these are integer values. Now, when I was using multiple scanners, and because of the template that we have for the paragraph or the required output from the users, I had to concat so many different string values and variables, integer values, double values. My code was giving me a yellow line on the scanner name. And when I hover over it, it was showing that I have a resource leak. So after doing some research, I realized resource leak happens when sometimes Scanner function throws error when we try to concat so many string values, integer values, and double values all together. It happens sometimes, and the best way to avoid it is to close it. During resource leak, what happens? The code still runs in memory after we execute the whole code in the console. And in order to avoid that, we just need to close it. So I have closed all these scanners. It's not necessary, but it's a good practice. Now let's run this. Run here. It says, what is your name? We'll put James Bond. How old are you? We'll type 40. What is your gender? Put male. Where are you from? England. Where do you live now? New York. Where do you work? IBM. What is your job role? Automation engineer. What is your salary? 100,000. How much raise are you getting next year? 50,000. Based on the user input, this is what we got. My name is James Bond. I'm 40 years old, male. I am originally from England. I currently live in New York. I work at IBM as automation engineer. I make $100,000. I will get 50,000 as annual raise. So my total salary would be $150,000 next year. And the outcome, satisfy the required tasks that we have. Thank you.